So let me continue some properties of the cross correlation function applicable to processes which are at least WSS. So we are considering the process which are at least WSS, wide and stationary, and you will see that these properties are quite different from properties of autocorrelation function. For example, what is the relation between r x y of 0 and r y x of 0? Now the question is, are they equal or are they not equal? The answer is they are equal. That means r x y of 0 is equal to r y x of 0. It's very easy to prove. It's a one line proof. It's not that much difficult. I will leave it as an exercise. So r x y of t1 and t2. This t1 indicates the random variable x is obtained or sampled at time instant t1, and this t2 indicates the random variable y is obtained at time instant t2 is equal to r x y of t1 comma t2 is t1 plus tau, so I replace t1 plus tau here for t2. So this is going to be r x y of t1 comma, this is t1 plus 0 because tau is 0 in this case. So this is again r x y of t1 comma t1. What is the time difference between these two guys? t1 minus t1, which is equal to 0. So this is r x y of 0. By the same way you can do r y x also. R y x of t1 comma t1, where the random variable y is sampled at time instant t1 and the random variable x is obtained by sampling the random process x of t at time instant t1. Okay, sorry, this is t2 at time t2. So this is r y x of t1 comma t2 equal to t1 plus tau. Then substitute tau equal to 0 because we wanted to know r y x of 0. Therefore r y x of t1 comma t1, which is r y x of again 0. Therefore when tau equal to 0, both are equal. Okay, here also both the x of t and y of t sampled at the same time instant. See, x of t sampled at the same time instant, sorry, y of t, and x of t also sampled at the same time instant. And here also if you look at, this is x of t sampled at t1 and y of t also sampled at time instant t1. So in that case r x y of 0 is equal to r y x of 0. That is one property of cross correlation function. There is a note for this property. In the autocorrelation case, when we say r x x of 0, what did we say about this? We said r x x of 0 has a physical significance of mean squared value. If you recall, this is mean squared value. From the mean squared value you can calculate the power of the signal or energy of the signal over the, okay, so this is a mean squared value over the ensemble. So don't read this as ensemble, but you should pronounce as ensemble. But when I say r x y of 0, or y x of 0, this does not have any physical meaning. Okay, it has no particular physical meaning. So I can say no particular physical meaning. Or I can say physical significance. Let me write properly. Okay, but this has a physical significance. What is the physical significance? It is the mean squared value over the ensemble. That is, from the mean square value you can find out the power of the signal or energy of the signal. But when you consider this Rxy of 0 or Ryx of 0, it doesn't have any physical meaning. The subscripts does not change the value. Okay, the only thing that we know is that the changing of the subscripts does not give any significant meaning in this. So that's all about this first property. Now what can you say about Rxy of tau and Rxy of minus tau? Okay, so let us go by definition. Okay, so Rxy of tau, which is by definition expected value of x of t times y of t plus 2. I am straight away writing this definition instead of writing the expected value of x of t1 and then t2 and t2 is t1 plus 2. Now, those things I am not doing. Straight away I am writing here. Similarly, x y of minus tau is defined as x of t times y of t minus tau, because here I am putting minus, so here also I am keeping minus. Now the question is, are they equal? The answer is no. They are not in general equal. Why? Rxy of tau not necessarily equal to Rxy of minus tau. In the autocorrelation case, Rxx of tau was an even function, right? Rxx of tau was an even function, meaning Rxx of tau is equal to Rxx of minus tau, but that is not the case for cross correlation property. For cross correlation, now a remarkable property is that Rxy of tau is by definition x of t1. You sample the process at time instant t1, you get this random variable, and you sample y of t at time instant y of t plus, let me write down properly, t2 at time instant t2. Now if you replace this guy, x of t1 times y of t1 plus tau. Now let me change the time reference so that t1 now becomes t1 minus tau. See, as I said, you have random waveforms like this. Let's say this is my process x of t, then I have a collection of waveforms for y of t. Now what you do is you sample the process at time instant t is equal to t1. Now what I am saying is, you shift the sampling time instant from t1 to some other time instant, let's say t1 minus tau. Okay, and here you will get the random variable x of t1, and here you will get x of t1 minus tau. Similarly, in this case, you sample the process at time instant originally. Okay, so let's say, I'm sorry, let me sample the process at t1 plus tau, so you will get y of t1 plus tau. Now what you do is you shift the sampling time instant by minus tau, therefore you come back to t1. Okay, that means t1 plus tau minus tau equal to t1. So in this point you get a random variable y of t1, right? Therefore if you change the time reference or the sampling instant, then what will happen? T1 now becomes T1 minus tau and T1 plus tau becomes T1. Okay, so therefore expected value of x of T1 times y of t plus tau, this becomes, now this T1 becomes T1 minus tau, right? So T1 minus tau, and this t plus tau becomes, I mean T1 becomes y of T1, right? Then if the two processes are jointly stationary, obviously a change of time reference should not affect. Whenever we have joint stationary random process, then shifting the time, sampling time instant will not be a problem. So it matters only the time difference, not the actual time instant. That means, let's say you are sampling this process, let's say 8 o'clock 5 minutes, and this you sample at 8 o'clock. Okay, so what is the difference between these two? 5 minutes. Similarly, here also you sample this process at 8 o'clock 5 minutes, and you sample here 8 o'clock. As long as the time difference is tau, then there will not be any problem. It matters only the time difference, not the exact time. Whether you sample at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock or tomorrow or day before yesterday, it doesn't matter for stationary process, only for stationary process. Because of the stationarity, this is true. Otherwise, I cannot write this. This step I cannot write. I cannot write if x of T1 and y of T1 plus tau are jointly stationary. Okay, even if it is marginally stationary, that will not help us. Both should be stationary, jointly stationary. So this step comes because of the stationarity of the stationarity property. Therefore, obviously a change of time reference should not affect. And the expected value of x of T1 times y of t plus 1 tau must be equal to x of T1 minus tau times y of T1. Now, don't you see that this is the same as the expected value of y of T1 times x of T1 minus tau? It's a multiplication operation, is a conjugate, commutative operation, right? So I can, interchange. I put for first y of t and then x of T1 minus tau. It's a commutative property. Just after all, I am multiplying the two random variables. Only matters is at what time instant you are doing the sampling. So therefore, here the time difference is T1 minus tau minus T1. So first you take this guy T1 minus tau, so it is here, and then take T1, so T1, so this T1 will get cancelled, you will get a minus tau. Therefore the time difference is minus tau. If you consider the order y2x if you consider, then time difference is minus tau. In case if you consider x to y, then what is the time difference? In the x I mean T1 minus of T1 minus tau, T1 will get cancelled, minus times minus plus, so you will get plus tau. So but I am considering y2x, therefore I can write r yx of, and the time difference is minus tau, I can put minus tau. So at the end you will get r xy of tau is equal to r yx of minus tau. And this property establishes a property that rxy of tau is equal to ryx of minus tau. Do you remember that rx of tau was maximum when the rxx of tau was maximum when the argument was 0? Please recall from your autocorrelation function. In the autocorrelation function, what did we say? we said this Rxx of 0 will be maximum, or I can put tau here, and will be maximum when tau equal to 0. Okay, please recall this property from autocorrelation function. Similarly, in cross correlation function, Rxy of tau is not necessarily maximum at tau equal to 0. So this is very important and quite different from your autocorrelation function. Okay, so it can be shown that Rxy of tau is mod of Rxy of tau is less than or equal to square root of Rxx of 0 or Yy of 0. Okay, now that is you take the mean square value of the individual process x of t and y of t. What is this? This is a mean square value of the process x of t, and this is the mean square value of y of t. Okay, so just multiply the mean square value of the process x of t, multiply out by mean square value of the random process y of t, and take the square root. That will be greater than or equal to mod of the cross correlation between x and y. So this is the whole thing is always greater than or equal to this value. Obviously this is the maximum value, this one, because you get Rxx of 0 is a maximum value and Ryy of 0 is the maximum value. Therefore the maximum value of Rxy of tau does not necessarily occur at tau equal to 0. Similarly, you can write Ryx of tau, take modulus, is less than or equal to square root of same thing Rxx of 0 and Ry of y of 0, and we can prove this thing very easily also. Okay, so let me write down formally this property. A cross correlation function is bounded by the cross correlation inequality. Meaning Rxy of tau is less than or equal to square root of Rxx of 0 and Ryy of 0. And proof. The proof is very easy, straightforward. This proof can be provided by expanding the following inequality. Like you take y of t plus tau. What is this? This is a random variable, and take another random variable x of t and multiply by some real number. Okay, and take a square of this. See, sum of two random variable is a random variable, right? We know that random variable plus random variable is, you will get another random variable. Now you take the square of that. Once you take a square, then again you will get another random variable. Let me call this is 1 and 2, and this is random variable 3. You will get a random variable 4, and this random variable will be always non-negative because you squared it. Once you square the random variable, then you will end up with another random variable, and that random variable takes always non-negative value. Please recall this. And if you take the expectation of non-negative random variable, then you will end up with always non-negative quantity. This is important point one should remember. Non-negative number or something, you'll get it, non-negative value. Therefore y of t plus tau plus alpha times x of t and whole squared, take expected value, and this should be greater than or equal to 0, always non-negative. Okay. So this is the square of sum of two random variables, as I said, x of t plus y of t plus tau, and some real number, some constant. It can take any value. For the timing, let us assume it is a constant, some real number. Okay, now let's expand this. Expected value of a square, that is y of t plus tau squared plus 2 times y of t plus tau times alpha times x of t, or let me rewrite this properly, 2 times alpha x of t times y of t plus tau plus b square, that is alpha square times x squared of t. Now since expectation is a linear operator, take inside, so this is y squared of t plus tau plus 2 and alpha is real, 2 and alpha are real, so you take 2 and alpha outside of your expectation, then this is x of t times y of t plus tau, then plus alpha squared x squared, expected value of x squared of t, and this is greater than or equal to 0. Now if you notice here, what is this? This is the mean squared value of the random process y of t. Okay, because if you expand this, you will come to know this, already I discussed, so I don't want to discuss one more time here. And this one is Rxx of 0, and this one is the cross correlation between x and y, or xy of, for WSS process it is a function of tau, so I directly put tau there. So you get Rxx of 0, then like 2 times alpha times Rxy of tau plus alpha square times Rxx of 0, which is greater than or equal to 0. Now let me rearrange this equation in order to match with the quadratic equation, okay, quadratic form. So alpha square times Rxx of 0, or I can write like this one more time because it will be very nice if I write in that form, Rxx of 0 plus alpha squared plus 2 times Rxy of tau times alpha plus Ryy of 0, which is greater than or equal to 0. Now this equation is similar to a times alpha square plus b times alpha plus c greater than or equal to 0. Now for this quadratic form, to be non-negative with alpha, the roots cannot be real, okay, so roots cannot be real. If the roots are real, then you cannot get greater than 0, except as a double root. So please recall or refresh from your quadratic equations from your 10th standard. Therefore roots will be complex or imaginary. So if the roots are complex or imaginary, then we know the roots equation minus b plus or minus square root of b square minus 4ac divided by 2a. So when you want to complex or imaginary roots, then this guy should go to 0, right? Therefore this whole thing should be, no sorry, I'm not sorry, this guy will not be 0, I'm sorry, this guy should be not that one, I'm sorry, this one b square, what I'm doing, b square minus 4ac, right? So let me use green color. So this should be less than 0, then only you will get complex root or imaginary root. Okay, so when you get, when will you get imaginary root? When b goes to 0, you will get imaginary root. When you will get complex root, then you will get b is not equal to 0 and this guy is less than 0. So therefore in order to make this guy as non-negative, this b square minus 4ac should be less than or equal to 0. Now you know the value of b, you know the value of a, and you know the value of c. You substitute those values and you will get it. What is the b value? B value is 2 times r x y of tau whole squared minus 4 times, what is the a value? A value is like r x x of 0, and what is the c value? R y y of 0, it should be less than or equal to c. Okay, and this is 4 times r x x squared of tau minus 4 times r x x of 0 and r y y of 0 less than or equal to 0. So 4 and 4 you can get cancelled, get cancelled. Then r x x squared of tau is less than or equal to r x x of 0 and r y y of 0. Therefore r x x of tau less than or equal to square root of r x x of 0 and r y y of 0. Since it is in a square function, you can put a modulus here. So this is a result. That's the end of the proof of this property. Now one more point I want to discuss here. As I said, we have two different random processes, x of t and y of t. You sample this process at time instant t1, you will end up with a random variable x of t1. Let me call this random variable x sub 1, right? Similarly, this is a random process. You sample this process at time instant t equal to t1 plus tau, that is t2. So you will get y of t2 and this y of t2 is simply called y2. So I have two random variables from two different random processes. Now what I am saying is, if the random variables are x1 and y2 are statistically independent, then obviously r x y of tau would be equal to expected value of x1 times y2. Okay, so then expected value of x1 multiplied by expected value of y2 if x1 and y2 are statistically independent of each other. Okay, so this is the result when the two random variables are statistically independent. That means, what is this? What is this? This is the mean value, right? So the mean value we denoted by x bar, and the mean value of y bar we denote by, sorry, e of y2 as y bar. And you see, it doesn't matter whether I check x first or y first. Therefore, it will be the same as y bar times x bar. It is a number, right? So finally I will end up with a number, two numbers, number 1, and this is going to be another number 1, number 2. So two numbers, let's say this is 2 and this is 4, then 2 times 4 or 4 times 2 doesn't matter, so y times x. So therefore this I can write r y x of tau. So this result holds. R x y of tau is equal to r y x of tau only when the random variable x and y are statistically independent. Otherwise, this result will not hold. And the more interesting thing is that if one of the process is a zero mean process, like x bar equal to 0 or y bar equal to 0, then Rx of tau or xy of tau is equal to 0, which is equal to Ryx of tau. Okay, so therefore Rxy of tau shall be identically equal to 0 for all values of tau. For all values of tau. So this never happens in autocorrelation function. Okay, in autocorrelation function Rxx of tau will never be equal to 0. Please remember this important property this is. But in cross correlation function there is a chance that it will become 0 provided that x and y are statistically independent. For a statistically independent process, if one of them is 0 mean, that is one or both have 0 mean, I mean one is one suffices, then Rxy of tau, that is the cross correlation, is absolutely 0. What does it mean? That the two waveforms x of t and y of t are absolutely dissimilar. So this indicates the two waveforms x of t, I mean two random processes x of t and y of t are absolutely dissimilar. Sorry, not similar, it is absolutely dissimilar. So this is a very important point that one should remember always, especially for cross correlation function. So you have two different random processes and you try to find out the cross correlation function, and finally you will end up with a cross correlation function is equal to 0. Then you can come to the conclusion that the two random processes x of t and y of t are absolutely dissimilar. They are perfectly uncorrelated. In other words, you can say they are perfectly uncorrelated. Now note, the question is now, is the reverse true? Suppose I have Rxy of tau equal to 0 equals 0, and in addition x bar equal to 0. Now does this imply that x1 and x2 are statistically independent? In general, the answer is no, it cannot be. The reverse is not true. So one must be very careful. One can get trapped in this kind of argument. You see, this is only if statement. Okay, so if x bar equal to 0 or if x and y are independent and if any one random variable's mean value equal to 0, then the rxy of tau equal to 0, but the reverse is not true. In other words, rxy of tau equal to 0 if x1 and y2 are statistically independent and any one of the random variable has 0 mean. Okay, so rxy of tau is equal to ryx of tau if they are statistically independent, which is equal to x bar times y bar, mean values over the ensemble. But if this is 0 and one of them is 0, like if this is 0 and any one of them is 0, either x bar equal to 0 or y bar equal to 0, okay, then x1 and y2 are not necessarily statistically independent of each other. Okay, you cannot come to the conclusion that if rxy of tau equal to 0 and any one like x bar equal to 0 or y bar 0, then you can say that okay, so x1 and y2 are statistically independent. So that you cannot come to the conclusion. But the forward thing is true. If two are statistically independent and any one is 0, then rxy of tau equal to 0. That is true. But somebody comes and tells you like rxy of tau equal to 0 and x bar equal to 0, then you cannot make a or you cannot say that x1 and y2 are statistically independent. So they are not necessarily statistically independent of each other. In fact, one can construct a counter example for this, so that we will discuss during problem solving session. At this point, let me stop. I have, I think, one more property. That property let me now point out here. If time permits, I will solve now, or let me solve in the next lecture. So let me state the property here. One more property of autocorrelation function, cross correlation function. That is square root of, the proof also very simple, you can try also, rxx of 0 times ryy of 0 is less than or equal to 1 over 2 times rxx of 0 plus ryy of 0. It's very simple proof. You can look at any standard textbook or you can try on your own. Okay, if time permits, I will work out this property also. So at this point, let me stop.